I gotta ask Wild Trees just off the cuff. You seen Nosferatu? What'd you think about Nosferatu Vlad's swinging ding dong? That was a new one.
I noticed he was nude in a few scenes, and I mean, I thought it was cool.
It was great. I love that Robert Eggers. I've seen his stuff, everything, of course. Every one of his movies is a masterpiece. Definitely creepy. That I even didn't mind the mustache. When I first heard about the mustache, I was like, "Oh, mustache," but it didn't bother me. It was appropriate.
I like this portrayal of Nosferatu. I thought it leaned heavily toward a biological paranormal entity, like a real life, black-eyed children. The way it acted, it seemed very parasitic to me. Like it was an animal. I guess he was infected. I don't know if he was infected by like some other, if he started off as a man or they leave it very blank.
Something about the devil resurrected his corpse.
But yeah, his portrayal was very animal-like, which I appreciated, and it was very insightful. Like it reminded me of how, like I said, some of these paranormal entities like shadow people, goblins, skinwalkers, and black-eyed children and black-eyed people. It reminds me of how those real life stories, how they interact with us, they mess with our nature, they talk to us telepathically. I like that. And the movie's just gorgeous to look at. Like every shot is like beautifully composed. Dialogue is super easy to understand. It's very clever. I like the plot because the plot was super easy to understand. I was never confused, even though they're talking in an old timey dialect. Every single plot point was fleshed out, and the acting was really good. Like everybody, they perfectly acted the way they were supposed to, and it was just a really clear, easy to follow movie. That was super good looking and atmospheric. It was just badass.
Has there been any other movies you've been tripping out on that much and seeing it more than once?
I really love Gladiator II, actually.
Yeah, that was good.
I like that. Some people are lukewarm on it. They think it's okay. I fucking loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. Like I loved this. I saw it in IMAX. I love the scope, how big everything was, the set pieces. I thought all the actors were super charismatic. Everybody was like really good in the roles. The plot was very easy to understand. Like I said, I understood every single thing happening. The main gladiator, he was super charismatic. Like he played an everyday guy. Like I feel like I don't know how you couldn't love this guy. You know, he just looked like, his face had this kindness to it. They show him he was like a farmer in the beginning. So he's got this like down to earth, salt of the earth kind of thing. His face, you don't see anything like wrong. He doesn't look like he's got any vanity. He doesn't look like he's a bad person. He looks like just a good, honest guy with a lot of emotions. And so I love him as the main character. He was a little bit bland, but I like that. I thought maybe that was on purpose. Like the blandness kind of added to the reality of it, because like in real life, a lot of people are a little bit bland. Not everybody's like this super like main character. So that's not an insult to him. I think that was an acting choice. His wife was super hot. His wife was in it for just a little bit, spoilers, but she was incredibly beautiful. You understand all his suffering. I was like, bro, I understand why you're suffering, man. She was great. She was one of the greatest women, I imagine, a great wife. And I like the scene. I like the scene with the baboons. I haven't done the research, but there's a scene with hairless baboons. They might be too big to be real baboons, but that's okay because as a biologist, I was like, this is brilliant. I was like, these are an extinct form of baboon. Like this movie takes place a few thousand years ago. I was like, totally possible that back then they had a species of baboon that was bigger, more aggressive, and that it became extinct because it was hunted. Maybe the gladiators killed them all. I don't know. So that made perfect sense.
Well, the legend of the aggressive ape, the carnivorous ape. I mean, we're in the ape family, are we not?
Sasquatch Sunset.
The effects and the way they looked was really well done, but it did make them seem kind of like dumbasses. Like, I did. But I mean, it was a fun watch one time.
I thought it was hilarious. And to me, that movie, so I saw Sasquatch Sunset. I thought it was funny as hell. To me, it was like, it made me feel this way where like the Sasquatch, the way they acted, it was like all id. It's hard to say, like, it was all like pure thoughts. They acted on their pure thoughts. And so that made me reflect on myself. Because honestly, this may be a wild take, but the crazy ways those Sasquatch act in Sasquatch Sunset is what a lot of us think. So they're just acting how we think. Now we filter everything out and we're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm a human. I live in society. So to me, it was like looking in a mirror. Like when I was seeing these Sasquatch acting ridiculous, it was honestly like looking in a mirror and self-examining myself. Because like I said, I think maybe I'm just outing myself, but I thought a lot of their thoughts but I just filter them out and build upon them. I only love one franchise, it's Jurassic Park, and they've been pretty good to me. I like all the new Jurassic World movies. I enjoyed all of them. Yeah, I appreciate them. Now the new one is coming out this summer. Okay, like let's not get into spoilers because I purposely am avoiding spoilers, but I can talk a little bit about the ideas. So the new one's coming out is called Jurassic World Rebirth. Comes out this summer. Great director Gareth Edwards, who directed Godzilla, who directed Rogue One, Star Wars Rogue One. And so it's got Scarlett Johansson, and it looks like it's a small scale movie. I like the director; he's really good. He loves the Jurassic Park franchise. If you saw his last movie that came out, I forget what it's called, but it didn't do that well in theaters. But like, he was like traveling to new locations. He was using new cameras, and so I could tell that this director is cutting edge.
Okay, so here's what he's known for: Monsters, Godzilla, The Creator, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, just to name a few. Chasing Childhood is the last one he's done in 2020.
The Creator. So The Creator's the last movie. Visually great. The plot was great. I thought it was a great movie. He should have done more money. But behind the scenes, you see him, and he's on the edge of filmmaking. He's passionate about filmmaking. He's trying new techniques. He's visiting real locations. So that's really promising for the Jurassic World, the new movie, because we got a director who's hungry, and he's not like, hackneyed. Also, it's being written by the original script writer of the first Jurassic Park and the second. And that guy actually talked to Michael Crichton when he was alive. So it's got all these qualities that look really good. They released one picture today. It shows the two main characters, and they're like in a nest, and they're looking at an egg. That to me gives me really heavy vibes of the Lost World novel, not the movie, because the Lost World is a sequel to Jurassic Park. The novel was written by Michael Crichton. It's a completely different than what we got in the movie. Both of them are good. Lost World novel, basically, it only has two small groups of people on the island, and they're both looking. One of them is looking for eggs. It's actually the bad guy. You know the bad guy in Jurassic Park 1, Dodson, the guy with so that guy is the main character of Jurassic World Dominion, the last movie, but he's also the main villain in the Lost World novel. So he's a rival genetics company. He goes with a small group, and they're going to steal eggs so they can make their own park. Then they have these guns that shoot out sound waves. So that's how they get through the nest. So they point this gun at the dinosaur, and it shoots these like sound waves, and it keeps them away. But anyway, the new picture from the new movie is giving me the same vibes. It's giving me Lost World novel vibes. Because the interesting thing about Jurassic World movies and the Jurassic Park movies, there's been 6 movies. There's only been 2 books written by Michael Crichton, but every single movie has some scenes from his original novel. That's how good his original novel. His original novel had so many good dinosaur scenes that they're being spread out in 6 movies. So it makes sense to me that maybe they're going to take some scenes and some elements from his second novel that weren't used earlier.
Oh, without question. I mean, he was a very prolific writer before he passed, and very good.